It's time for the beer radio you've been looking for. This is the show that dispels myths, tackles the toughest topics, and makes no apologies for geeking out on beer. Hosted by two guys that drink before they think. Jamil Zainasheff and John Palmer. This is Brew Strong.
Hey, howdy, hey, my brewing brothers and sisters.
Greetings, cretins.
All right.
Hello, my favorite fans.
If
good.
anyone was more geeky than John Palmer and I,
That would be me.
that would be John Blichmann. Yes.
I have been accused of that by my daughters,
By geekiness.
and I keep trying to convince them that my geekiness is what makes me cool.
Keep trying.
Another few years, I think they're gonna. They're gonna figure it out.
I think you can kind of benchmark that when your daughter uses the word Padawan in a sentence. So for me, that was the day when my daughter used the word Padawan in a sentence and correctly. It's like, okay, I did my work. I've trained her well.
Is impressive.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I can top that. Just no way.
See,
I'm starting them on sours though.
Oh, okay.
the great thing is, I think you guys are great. Around you guys, I feel very ordinary. And by ordinary, I mean
And
normal.
handsome, too, probably.
I mean normal. I mean, like, I fit in with the regular crowd far more when I'm around you guys than I do with you guys. I mean, I fit in with you guys. Hey, come on.
Yeah.
But
We have a lot of pity, John and I.
I think I fit in more with the normal crowd. I don't know. Maybe it's just with a little distance. With a few beers in me, and we're on like the Portland Max train. Oh yeah.
Yep.
I remember that.
Then we all fit in.
Vaguely.
Then we're all licking
Yeah.
each other. Absolutely.
Yeah, walking
I remember
back from
cuddling with Jamil. It was a strange
The
thing.
weird thing is, if you go to Portland, I go to Portland all the time. If you go to Portland, there are some really strange-ass people on the trains in Portland.
Oh, yeah.
Wonderful place. But there's some really weird, freaky people in Portland.
Yeah. Well, they made a show about it, Portlandia.
Yeah, oh, yeah. Well, but here's the thing. I've taken pictures of us on the train in Portland, and everyone around us is looking at us as like we're the freaks. Okay, so I got to tell you a little something about hanging out with the two Johns and the Jamel. I'm just saying.
Mm-hmm. I don't remember
We are
it
the
myself.
king
We had been to the
of
whiskey
beer
house.
You don't remember it? Yeah, that was on our way to the whiskey
What
house.
was the name of the whiskey house again?
Whiskey house?
I remember sitting there and having some just great bourbons and scotches.
Yeah.
That was
But
awesome.
it was a blur, all the different places we went.
Was it the...
That was Chris Chambers from Dunbar Brewing that took us there.
That's right. I was thinking it was called the Palmer Whiskey House, but maybe that's just my imagination. There's some other Palmer House in Portland, I remember.
I just remember starting at a great seafood restaurant.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, what was the name of the place?
Right. No, that was like Google or Yelp or something. It was like, okay, this is a good restaurant. Let's eat here.
And it
They've
was
got
good.
seats. Yeah, it was good. And you paid for it all.
I did.
It was expensive, too. I remember that.
I had a whole steelhead. Yeah.
Pity.
A
pity
whole
is,
seal.
Yeah, pity is a strong emotion. Not John. John earns it. He's worth it. Jamil,
I generate lots of pity, yeah.
yeah, there's a lot of pity there that happens.
That was really, really good. And then the whatever whiskey place Chris took us to.
Right.
Yeah.
That was really good, too.
That was.
I'm not much of a hard alcohol guy, but
Yeah.
I told him, I said,
We had
he's
a
like,
walk
what do you
for half
want?
an
I'm
hour.
like, just order me something. Of course, I think I paid for that. That was like $150 for whatever drinks we got. $180, something like that. It was not cheap.
No.
But it was delicious.
It was good. Yeah.
We saw the dancing raccoons during that time, and
Okay, that must have been in a brownout. I don't remember that. The dancing
Right,
raccoon.
yeah.
that was on the
How
walk
many
there.
drinks did you have at the whiskey place?
No, it was on the way there. We saw the raccoons. I think.
Oh, the raccoons running in the street?
Yeah,
Okay, yeah.
yeah. I thought they were performing for us, but
Okay, I didn't miss that in a whiskey brownout then, so that's good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Well,
Speaking of performance,
speaking of performance,
Our-
how about that Blichmann Engineering?
yeah,
The
Oh,
perform
Jesus, I
for
thought you were
you.
going to be talking about Adam and Eve.
No. Not till later in the show.
that was a segue, John.
Yes.
That was.
No, here's how we do it. Speaking of performance, the crew at Blichmann Engineering, they perform for you every day. They're using their talents,
Of course
their
you pay them.
creativity, their passion to create the best brewing gear you can get. This is
is
Blichmann
true.
Engineering stuff. This is the high end, the stuff that the geeks love.
The
It's
chrome on the
everything.
Harley.
It's the chrome on the Harley. It is the lube on the dildo. Normally I wouldn't throw that in, but you're here. I would keep it very clean for you.
The lube
It
on a
is.
keg, maybe.
Yeah.
I know. Honestly, what Blichmann Engineering does is use the brilliance of their team, their leader and their team, to innovate brewing. It's not just repeat what somebody else is doing and do it cheaper. It's make it better, make it work better. Look at the beer gun. Don't just accept the way things are done. Invent a new way of doing it. Recreate how we're brewing and recreate it so the results are better, your day is better, you're having more fun, it's a lot more cool. That's what Blichmann Engineering does. So check them out. Go to blichmannengineering.com. Blichmann Engineering with a B, a couple N's.
And a man.
There's a G. There's letters in there and a .com. Google it, and it'll probably come up correct. And make sure you let them know how much you appreciate that they sponsor this show. Send an email, support at blichmannengineering.com. They'd appreciate it. I know John does. And, they're paying for the show, so you don't have to. So don't hesitate today. Check them out, blichmannengineering.com. All right, so today we're going to do a Q&A show. If you send in your questions to brewstrong at thebrewingnetwork.com, we'll get them. We'll collect them, and over the course of
8 years.
8 or 9 years, we will answer most of them.
And mostly factually.
Mostly factually. You're right. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I didn't mention, our guest in the studio is John Blichmann himself.
Hello. Good to
There
be
you go.
here.
All the way from Indiana.
Yes.
Sunny Indiana?
It was, when I got on the plane to head this way, it was 7 whopping degrees.
7. Single digits. Ooh.
But it's good. I love the cold.
Wow.
You're from Michigan.
Yeah, yeah.
You were a Youper up there at
True.
Houghton,
Yeah.
Michigan Tech.
Yeah.
So you're used to that 20, 30 below shit where your tires...
Yeah, we don't complain until it gets below zero. But,
It's just not cold until below zero. You
Yeah.
don't even put... You're wearing shorts until then.
Yeah, that's true. But I don't know. It's been a while since then. Now, when it hits 45, I'm complaining.
I know.
Because my wife has the AC set to like 55, so she's not too hot. And
Hey, you guys, it's a 1-hour show.
right.
All righty.
Okay.
Mind you. People would probably rather hear some questions. Let's do one quick question here, Steve. What do we got?
All right.
From today's mailbag.
Today's mailbag.
1990 something. Yeah.
Rusty Longtime asks.
Rusty
Longtime.
Oh, that's a sweet name.
That's a good name.
Time or long time?
Long
like boom,
time.
Boom, me boom boom long time?
Like Tyne.
He should change his name to
T-I-N-E.
to Tyne.
Okay.
All right.
I will rusty you long time.
on the pitchfork.
Exactly.
Nice.
Exactly. Yeah. All right. Christopher Rockwood from Magic Hat Brewery was nice enough to share his Starlit Porter seasonal Christmas beer recipe with me recently. I'll include what he shared with me at the end of this email. I need a little help if you can. Star anise is a key ingredient, but he wasn't able to scale it down for me for the amount. I know it's going to be trial and error, but how much star anise would you use to start? He also gave me options for hops, but didn't include amounts for those either. Can you please give me some ideas? One more thing. He goes for a 7-gallon boil and 5-gallon finish, but I can only do a 6-gallon boil. How can I adjust, or should I? Thanks. And then he's got a bunch of technical specs at the very end.
Well, here's the thing. So, never ask a brewery to give you like a 5-gallon batch. Screw that. They're busy, for one. They're working in their own numbers. Just, that the fact that they would give you any numbers in the first place and information in the first place is great.
Huge
Just ask them for, tell me in whatever units you use. Don't worry about it, and then you do the math. Whatever units they're using, you Google units of that to units to whatever you use.
Right.
And easy enough to convert.
Yes, and things like hops, I seem to recall that Beersmith will do some of those adjustments for you.
A lot of these things. You could punch them into your
Utilization.
software at whatever volume, and then scale it down to whatever volume you're doing, and it'll do it for you. So don't ask them to convert it for you. If they start to convert it for you, just say, no, just give me whatever you brew, and I will take care of it.
And that's been a lot of the fun of the homebrewing thing is trying to do that experimentation.
But I will tell you, the number of pro brewers who do these conversions do a horrible job of it. Because they'll just that sounds like, 2 pounds of roasted barley and that and 5 gallons. Yeah, that's about right. They're not doing math. They're just kind of like guessing.
Approximate amounts of things. Just
or they round up.
They couldn't care less, yeah.
They're used to rounding into sacks. And so they're, let's round into even pounds. Oh, it's a quarter pound? Yeah, that's a pound. And so things get just totally haywire. I don't think they're trying to, screw you or hide anything from you. They are just trying to...
they're trying to help.
They're trying to help, but they're also busy, and they don't have time to, look up every conversion and dial it in exactly for your efficiency and your system. You know those numbers. Just get the numbers from them and then do your own conversion.
Yeah, you just knowing the malts they're using, the hops that they're using.
I'm sure if you ask this guy, how much star anise do you use in your batch size, and what's your batch size? And he goes, we use a half-pound star anise in, 40 barrels of wort. It's like, okay, a barrel is 31 gallons, right? So 40 times 31. Divide by 5, and then you know whatever how much for 5 gallons, and then the amount of star anise, times ounces, you got 8 ounces, divide by 5, and then you've got okay, here you go. Here's our number of star anise I need. Oh, it's like 1/1000th of an ounce of star anise, and then you go, okay, so I'll take one little pod of this stuff and toss it in. And therefore, you're much better off doing it for yourself. Because then the homebrewer is like, throw in half an ounce.
Yeah.
If you're dealing like chamomile flowers, you realize what a half an ounce of chamomile flowers looks like.
It's like a pillowcase.
Exactly. They don't weigh anything. They're absolutely huge when you ask for, a certain amount. So, and people tell you half an ounce. They don't know. They're just guessing because they don't have time to do this. They're running a business. They're busy. I'm getting up on a soapbox, and I'm just telling you, do a lot of the calculations for yourself. If you were starting off with star anise, I would go with, 1/8 of an ounce, quarter of an ounce, and a half, and 5 gallons. It depends on how much. I've never had that beer, so I don't know how prominent it is.
Right.
But I imagine it's probably in the quarter ounce per 5 gallon batch.
Because that's
type of
strong
range.
stuff.
Yeah, it is. That's a very
prominent.
Yes, very prominent flavor.
Now, what was the other thing?
And my suggestion is always, if you're not sure, go less.
Right.
Because you always end up, if you have not enough, you'll always have a drinkable beer. But if you, but if you, if you start low, you're going to have a drinkable beer.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of what's important, to get a little bit of experience with it.
Right.
And then you just ratchet it up from there. And that's the neat thing about homebrewing is, you can make the 5 gallons and, if it really does, in those rare occasions, turn out unpalatable, you're not out a tremendous amount.
Right. And then, less is always more in these things. And as far as hops, I don't know how hoppy it is. I imagine it's probably not that hoppy. I'd probably bitter IBUs. A porter. 30, 35 IBUs for a porter. If you're trying to go more, if you're including spices that are a little bit kind of got a phenolic or a bitter component to them, I maybe go down to 25 or 20.
Sure. Yeah.
So somewhere in that range.
Yeah.
I really can't tell you what the answer would be without tasting the beer. So there you go. All right. Let's take a short break. When we come back, we'll have more of your questions right after this.
Are you looking for a simple brewing system that's great for all grain brewing, but everything on the market seems to be full of compromises? Blichmann Engineering has the answer. The Blichmann Brew Easy All Grain Brewing System. The Brew Easy is a complete system with easy upgrades and a beautiful compact design, perfect for any size brewing location. At its core, the Brew Easy is built on 2 gorgeous Blichmann Boilermaker brew kettles, a high-temperature March pump, and either a top-tier gas burner or the new Boil Coil electric heater. The Brew Easy adapter lid allows the pots to stack on top of each other, forming an efficient, strong, and compact brewing setup that comes in 5, 10, and 20-gallon batch sizes. Upgrade your Brew Easy system with full automated control by adding a Blichmann Tower of Power temp controller, and make moving around easy with the Blichmann Kettle Cart. The Brew Easy is modular. If you already own a Boilermaker kettle, you can build your Brew Easy by purchasing just the modules you need. The new Brew Easy all-grain brewing system. See it today at BlichmannEngineering.com and brew with Blichmann quality on your new Brew Easy. Since the first time the Brewing Network microphones turned on, More Beer was behind it. More Beer sponsors the programming on the BN because, like you, they love brewing. And like the Brewing Network, they love sharing their knowledge. Morebeer.com isn't just a website to place your next equipment or ingredient order. Morebeer.com also gives you access to free beer information that will make you a better brewer. Go to morebeer.com and click into the Learning Center. You'll find podcasts, technical facts, video tutorials, and more, including access to The Buzz, More Beer's social network of more than 5,000 members. And some of them might even be crazier about beer than you are. Get over to morebeer.com today and take advantage of The Buzz, the forum, the Learning Center, and make sure you're signed up to receive the newest More Beer catalog. More Beer, bringing you absolutely everything for beer making. When I order a beer, I want my server to know more about it than I do. I want someone who enjoys good beer and loves helping others enjoy it too. I want someone who knows how to pour a perfect pint for every beer style. I want a Cicerone.
The Cicerone Certification Program is creating the type of people who help you enjoy great beer. Home brewers and craft beer lovers know beer is more flavorful and complex than ever, and it takes some serious knowledge to store and serve beer right. Cicerones know beer. There are 3 levels in the Cicerone program: Certified Beer Server, Certified Cicerone, and Master Cicerone. Cicerones are truly the sommeliers of beer. The best beer locations have a Certified Cicerone on staff. Relaxed and unpretentious. Cicerones are tested on storing and serving beer, beer styles, flavor and tasting, the brewing process and ingredients, and pairing food with beer. Learn more about your next beer guide at cicerone.org. Certified Cicerone, because it takes top talent to present a perfect pint.
Do you know the 3 most important rules in brewing? Sanitation, sanitation, and sanitation. And no one does it better than 5-Star Chemicals. 5-Star knows sanitation. You can only sanitize clean equipment. And 5-Star knows how to clean, too. For craft brewers and home brewers, 5-Star has what you need to keep your fermenters, serving tanks, kegs, and draft lines sparkling and free of any beer-spoiling bacteria. PBW, caustic, acid cleaners, Star Sand, SaniClean, lubricants and defoamers, pH stabilizers, and more. 5-Star Chemicals has cleaning supplies, safety supplies, heat exchangers, pumps, hoses, and valves. And 5-Star is proud to offer eco-friendly products that exceed customer expectations. If you have a cleaning problem, you need the 5-Star solution. Visit 5starchemicals.com or call 800-782-7019. 800-782-7019 and get the 5-Star treatment today.
21st Amendment. Watch out! Do you like beer? They make beer. Watch out! Do you like friends and fun? They make friends and fun. Watch out! Do you still like to have a good time? The 21st Amendment. Watch out!
The 21st Amendment in San Francisco, located at 563 2nd Street, 2 blocks from the building where baseball is seen and played. Try their beers in the pub or try them in the can, featuring
Monk's Blood.
Made with real monk.
Watch out!
So why not have the best time of your life? Go to the 21A and Sean O'Sullivan will personally greet you with a can of
Monk's Blood. The 21st Amendment.
Watch out! This advertisement is not in any way affiliated nor associated with the 21st Amendment Bar and Pub, nor its subsidiaries or affiliates. This telecast is not copywritten by the 21st Amendment for the private use of the Brewing Network. Any use of this telecast without Jamil Zainashev's consent is prohibited. Suck it, JP.
Back to the beer guys that make other beer guys look like wine guys. Brew strong.
All right, we're back. We're enjoying another fine day at the Hop Grenade here. My good friends John Palmer.
Hey.
John Blichmann.
That dude.
We are...
And Bevo.
And Bevo.
Hey.
The always classically beautiful Bevo. And the classically pornographic...
Steve.
Porno Steve. Porno Steve is suffering. His test didn't come back exactly how he had hoped. But, you know, that's the life you live. That's the life you take. You know, that's how it goes.
Life gives you lemons. Well, work for the
Squeeze the
BN.
lemons.
Right. Squeeze your lemons as hard as you can. That might make you feel better. All right. We're doing live Q&A. What's our next question there, Steve?
All right. Got someone from London, Ben. He says, "Hi, guys. Really love the show."
Big Ben from London?
Big Ben from London. We'll call him that.
Parliament.
He's an associate of mine.
Oh, Big Ben in Crack Wranglers, London. Yeah.
All right. Really love the show. Perfect listening whilst brewing in the brew shed. Whilst.
I love using
It's very UK.
I do, too.
Whilst. Here's something I've been pondering. Does the adaptive phase have any positive taste impact, or is it purely to do with creating lots of yeast for a rapid attenuative phase, and or to use up any oxygen which may be in the wort? Would a large pitch on an under-oxygenated wort produce a similar or different taste profile to a small pitch in a heavily oxygenated wort? Pitching calculators abound, but I have not seen any that account for wort oxygenation. Just started oxygenation / stir plates, etc.
Oh, wait a minute. All right, go ahead and finish.
In some cases, is this additional adaptive component a desired effect? I've read that ester formation can be influenced by oxygenation levels, but whether it increases or decreases them seems to vary depending on the reference. Is it the truth that some esters increase and others decrease? I.e., there are your fruity English esters and other banana-type Belgian esters, etc.
Right. So, all right. First off, the Mr. Multi-Pitching Calculator does have a setting for oxygenated starters. Not oxygenated wort, but oxygenated starters, affecting your growth. And that's really the point that we're talking about. So he's talking about, so what happens is...
Adaptive.
Yeah,
exponential yeast growth.
If you're talking about... So the heart of his question, I think, was if you were to take a large amount of yeast in an unoxygenated wort and add it versus oxygenating and using less yeast, do the beers turn out the same? No, they don't at all.
Right.
I've done this. I did this fairly early on, and what I discovered was for lagers, I actually took a massive pitch of yeast and added it to a beer. And the beer didn't quite turn out right. There was something flat or odd about the beer that it was missing a lot of these compounds, which, when you start fermentation or when you pitch your yeast, the conditions that are provided when it's, everything's... involved in the growth of the yeast is going to affect the ester formation, other compounds that are formed.
Right.
Now, how much oxygen do you add? If you add too much oxygen, and a lot of times, so the thing about esters is, you can produce alcohols that become esters. So the esterification of the alcohols happens later on. If you add way too much oxygen, like our friend Chad did,
right.
I mean, you end up with a solventy, fusely, nasty beer.
Right.
If you don't add enough, the oxygen, which I consider nutrition for the yeast, is not enough to help them maintain the cell membrane in a pliant state.
Right.
And so, there's a problem there.
Mm-hmm.
So you're really shooting for in between that. And yes, every last little thing you do with the yeast at this point, at the very beginning of fermentation, will affect what your result is at the end of fermentation.
Right.
It's one of the most critical things in brewing. And it's the thing that people think about the least.
Right. Yeah, ester formation is complicated biochemistry.
Mm-hmm.
But the current thinking on it is that the yeast produce some enzymes, among them acetyl-CoA, during their exponential growth phase. This is an enzyme that is designed to help them grow.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of a cofactor in the growth, and the result of excess acetyl-CoA enzyme is you get more ester formation. So looking at oxygenation, at over-oxygenation, you can have
excessive growth. You tend to get a lot more isoamyl acetate.
Yeah,
you get a lot more banana.
Right, and they'll produce excess acetyl-CoA enzyme. Mm-hmm. They'll tend to produce some excess esters, but those tend to get absorbed or at least overshadowed by the very solventy esters like amyl acetate, I believe is the name of it. And if you under-oxygenate, now the yeast start growing, but they don't have enough oxygen to complete the growth, so they end up with excess acetyl-CoA there. So that's why you can get excess esters, or from both under and over oxygenating.
Mm-hmm. Right. So that's one of the fundamental facts. You want to look for the right amount of growth. Too much growth, not good. Too little growth, not good.
Right.
That's why, but I will tell you this. The effect from too much growth, from under pitching the amount of yeast, or pitching a smaller amount of yeast and forcing it to grow more, is generally more detrimental to fermentation and fermentation quality and beer quality than it is to overpitch. To put far more yeast into the beer than you actually need. It's very difficult to. It's possible to overpitch, but you've got more leeway that way. So you want to make sure you've included enough, and then you want to make sure that you're providing the right nutrition. And what will happen is the yeast will almost always grow. It's very difficult to put so much yeast in that you don't get any growth.
Correct, yeah.
So that's why you need some growth. A lot of fermentation character depends on that yeast growth and what happens during that. So that's why it's better to just go a little heavy than it is too light. Yeah?
Yeah.
Did we answer that question?
I think so.
What do you think?
I think so.
There you go. All
That's
right.
a good explanation.
Let's do the next one.
All right. Christian Rudgerd from Norway. How long... Christian Rudgerd. How long do you think I need to oxygenate a batch of 300 liters of wort with an original gravity of 1042 to 1052 using a stone of 0.5 micron with a flow meter at 1 liter a minute to ferment at 17 to 20 Celsius with US 05001?
All right, so 15-gallon batch, approximately.
Yeah.
14 something.
Did you say 300 liters?
15.
Yeah.
So about a 15-gallon batch, and he wants to know how many minutes. So I would go at a liter a minute for 3 minutes. So the important thing is that he's using a meter that will flow.
The measure flow accurately at
right
liter per minute.
Right. Oxygen medical regulator that adjusts based regardless of pressure and back pressure.
So 300 liters is what, closer
More
to
like 70 or 80 gallons, isn't it?
80 gallons, yeah. 3.74.
Oh, 15 times. Yeah, 15 times 5. Sorry. Yeah, 75. Yeah, I'd go. That's 75. All right. I would go divided by 3. Yeah, I'd go 25 minutes at 3 liters a minute.
Okay, so 1 liter per gallon, roughly.
Yeah. You might go a little less than that, but a liter per 5 gallons.
A liter for 5 gallons. Okay.
Yeah. Right. So wait. Okay.
So it'd be 25.
We've been drinking here 300, 20.
You'd be looking for 25
5.
liters at 3 liters per minute. So 8 minutes, 7 minutes, 8 minutes.
What? No. All right.
Are these liters at standard temperature and pressure?
300 liters. 19, let's call it. So that's times 5. Yeah, it's 78 gallons.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
79.252 gallons.
Okay. So 79 gallons. So here's how I work it. Yeah. All right. Final answer. Do 15 minutes at 1 liter a minute. Oh my God! It's been one of those days.
So that's 15.
I started this day really early. I'll have you know. 15, 16 minutes at 1 liter a minute.
Okay. So what you're trying to get then is roughly 15, 16 liters into 300 liters, or 80 gallons.
79.2
3.
5, 6, 8, 4.
2-1.
2-1.
Now, does the micron of the stone staggeringly make a difference?
Well, yes. Here's the thing that a lot of us don't focus on, but is actually quite important. There's a wetting pressure for every sintered stone. You need to know what the wetting pressure is.
WEDDING.
Not the
or as
wedding.
in bed wetting.
Oh,
I thought you said
Wetting.
wedding too. I was like,
Wetting.
I don't know what that means.
Like pee in your pants. Wetting your pants.
Okay.
The wetting pressure of the stone. You also need
I'm
to
very
know.
familiar with that. Okay.
You also need to know the hydrostatic pressure of the depth of your wort on top of the stone. Right? So your wetting pressure of your stone, your hydrostatic pressure. So if you're doing it like a large fermenter, we have fermenters that are 22 feet tall at Heretic. And so we need to know the hydrostatic pressure of the liquid on the stone. We need to know the wetting pressure of the stone. By setting your pressure to just above the wetting pressure, combined with the hydrostatic pressure, you get the finest bubbles out of your stone. Those fine bubbles will better be absorbed or dissolved into the wort, because what happens with those finer bubbles is you have much greater surface area than you do
big lugging bubbles.
Right.
Okay.
But what happens with the stones is if you increase the pressure and your flow is much greater, those bubbles are either growing faster before they release from the stone. I'm not sure the exact mechanics of it. They're either growing much larger before they release, or the small bubbles are combining together, and you get much larger bubbles coming up. Your surface area is much less when you do that. So that's why you need to kind of know the wetting pressure of the stone, your hydrostatic pressure. You want to keep that just barely above that, and you will get your ideal absorption of the oxygen into the wort.
Okay.
Does that help?
Interesting, yeah.
Is this something you've never thought about before?
Exactly.
Should you put this in the next edition of
I don't think it's going to come up.
No. So how do we put this? How do we put that into action? The wetting pressure.
Calculate out your pressure of your stone, or find out the pressure of your stone. Find out your hydrostatic pressure. Combine those two, and then just set your pressure for just above that. Like
roughly,
1
where do you
PSI
run
above.
yours? Because the smaller the porosity, obviously, the higher that pressure is going to be.
Right. So a typical wetting pressure we have on our stones at Heretic would be like 4.5 psi, and then it depends on what fermenter they're in. If they're in a fermenter that's only 10 feet of depth of wort versus one that's 20 feet of depth. The pressure, the hydrostatic pressure is calculated off of that, depending on how much wort is sitting up there. Your 15 psi, 15.7 at 33 feet of depth or so, and so we calculate that out, and then we add that to it, and then we set our pressure just above that.
So for a home brewer, you're really talking a couple psi over the wetting pressure, wetting pressure.
Yeah. It's not going to be much. Right?
Yeah. Because you're talking carboy, conical,
right.
homebrew.
This guy's doing
feet.
79 gallons, so
he's probably talking.
Although if you have a volume flow meter on the system, you're kind of keying off that flow, not so much worried about the pressure at the other end.
True.
Okay.
However, I think you could set a lower pressure to your flow meter, and maybe that would have the similar effect.
Or a lower flow rate if you're a
right.
Yeah.
But the point being, the lower the pressure on the stone, the smaller the bubbles that will come out.
Okay.
And the more effective that's going to be.
I see another research project.
Yeah.
So there you
go. The Blichmann bubble measure or something.
Dissolved oxygen, different stones, different pressures.
Mm-hmm. There you go.
We do a lot of our testing on Friday afternoons.
Get your guys working.
Yes.
I don't know what the hell you guys are doing down there, but you should tell your employees to start working on some of these Brew Strong questions.
We drink a lot.
Well,
and bitch about all the stupid crap that comes out of Jamil's mouth.
That's the perfect time to be working on it. Hey, I got some knowledge here. I don't know. You guys want to share in my knowledge? I'm just saying. I know a few things.
I just saw another research project coming out of the oxygenation thing.
There you go.
That's great. Like I picked up on the double mash.
Right. There you go. I'm just
the brilliance just spews out of your
pearls
mouth.
Before swine. I'm not saying who the swine is here.
Did you think about that?
Notice
because
Bevo was wearing a pearl necklace? I've always dreamed of Bevo with a pearl necklace.
I took that off.
Because you saw me looking at it?
No, because I was like, oh,
Jamil's going to say stupid
this
shit.
is the wrong show to wear
the
this.
pearl necklace. Yeah.
Sam calls this my grandma sweater, so I was just messing with him, so I figured I would just make it as grandma as possible.
Mm-hmm.
The strand of pearls.
By putting a pearl necklace on.
Yeah.
Yeah, she did.
It looked fine.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you. I thought it was nice also, but...
It's quite beautiful, dear.
Whatever.
All right.
I have a question from the chat room.
A question from the chat room, yes.
Yes. Could you please... Oh, I guess I don't have to read that part. What is the appropriate yeast to wort ratio for a wake-up starter? I have a starter made from 2 vials of WLP 833 that I want to quote-unquote revive. The original starter should have grown to about 380 billion cells, but now I have no idea how much DME I need to wake it up before I pitch it.
Oh, okay. So he's already done the growth. So whatever amount that it was supposed to grow to... if you wanted to do another starter after that, you could. You could take that result of that and use that as your initial, figure like 100 billion per vial, let's say. and you would just say if your growth from your previous starter should have resulted in like 377 billion cells, you would say, okay, I have 3.75 vials or 4 vials, and that's what I'm starting with. And then you could grow it to another thing. As far as waking up your starter, your yeast for pitching on a given day, if you've only been a few days out or a week out, whatever, you can just take that. What I would do is a lot of times I just do 500 mils of wort. If I was, working on a 5-gallon batch, and that was almost always adequate for whatever yeast I was going to pitch into a 5-gallon batch. So 500 to 1,000 mils, that's generally plenty for almost all wake-ups on that. Just multiply it up. If you're doing a 10-gallon batch, a liter to, maybe 2 liters. 2 liters probably plenty. So there you go. There's your answer. All right, let's take a short break. When we come back, we will have more of your questions right after this.
A few things happened 30 years ago.
ARPANET migrated to TCP/IP, and the Internet was born. Revenge of the Jedi was renamed Return of the Jedi and opened in theaters. Mila Kunis and Emily Blunt were born, beginning a rad fantasy in my mind.
But all of that pales next to the fact that HopTech opened its doors and began blowing homebrewers right out of their mash tuns. HopTech doesn't fuck around. Real people shipping awesome shit straight to you. Their new website is fast and easy to navigate. Or just call 800-379-4677 and let badass bitch Jade and the gadget guy Roberto blow their warm load of customer service all over you. So visit the site or visit the store in Dublin, California, and support those that support you. Get your brewing on at hoptech.com.
Hey, my brewing brothers and sisters. This is Jamel Zanishev, and I want to tell you about Heretic Evil Twin. You might be familiar with my homebrew recipe, which uses massive late hopping to create a balance between the malty sweet and the hoppy bitter, along with an outrageous malt and hop character. I wanted a beer with the same bold hop and malt character, so we played around with the homebrew recipe until we were able to make a great commercial version too. We've created a beer rich in malt character, full of caramel, toast, biscuit, and an ever so subtle roast note. On top of that, we piled in an insane amount of Citra and Columbus hops at the end of the boil, as well as in dry hopping. This damn-the-cost approach to hopping gives Heretic's Evil Twin a great blast of citrus and tropical fruit that can't be matched by any other hop. The result is a bold, malty, hoppy, but easy-drinking beer. This is our top seller, our flagship beer, and I couldn't be prouder of it. Cheers.
To find Heretic beers near you, click on Find Some at hereticbrewing.com. Your support of the Brewing Network means everything to us. We couldn't produce shows without you. And we love giving you something extra for that support, like Brew Your Own magazine. You already know it's a great brewing magazine full of recipes, equipment how-tos, discussions of beer styles, and brewing techniques. Whether you're new to brewing and just starting out or you're an old pro, you'll always learn something from the articles in Brew Your Own. Plus, there are amazing special issues like plans for building a Brutus 10 system, 250 classic clone recipes, and the Homebrewer's Answer Book. Brew Your Own magazine and BYO.com are awesome resources for any brewer, whether for yourself or as a gift. When you subscribe or resubscribe from the Brewing Network homepage, you directly support programs like this. Get a great magazine and support the Brewing Network. Subscribe to Brew Your Own right from thebrewingnetwork.com. There are two types of people in the world, naughty and nice. GrogTag is letting you tell it like it is with their naughty or nice labels for the holidays. Grandma getting you down? Slap a naughty label on that 4-year-old pale ale and put it under the tree. Did your Uncle Sal add you to his will? Well, he deserves your freshest batch of IPA with a custom nice label. Pick up one set of each and take 25% off your order by either entering code NAUGHTY or NICE at checkout. We all know how much beer you have to get rid of, so why not make it look good? Go find them at grogtag.com and don't forget to sign up for their newsletter to learn about the Gifting with GrogTag 12-day sale during Christmas. GrogTag. At least your beer will look good.
Hi, this is Brandon from Drake's Brewing Company here to warn you about the impending apocalypse. This year we're unleashing our Four Horsemen on Saturday, January 23rd from 12 to 6 p.m. at Drake's in San Leandro. In addition to the return of Apocalypse Double IPA and Black Label Triple IPA, we're adding the next two riders, Red Label and White Label. In case you thought Apocalypse Day couldn't get any bigger, you thought wrong. We invited more than a dozen of our favorite West Coast breweries to pour hard-to-find double and triple IPAs, including Cellarmaker, Russian River, Boneyard, Beechwood, and many more. Pre-sale tickets are on sale now and start at just $25. Black Label is limited to 6 bottles per person. Go to drinkdrakes.com for more info and brace yourself. The end is beer.
Back to the two guys that know how to turn beer into beer. This is Brew Strong.
I feel like we've traveled a long and winding road here to get to this point.
It's been a long journey, arduous.
We're back at full power.
Yeah, so yeah, Porno Steve knocked his beer over into the equipment, and so we spent a good half an hour, 45 minutes trying to dry out the board, and then we're like, okay, screw it. We will go without being able to hear what we're doing, and we will do the show without it, and we will finish, and then we will start another show. We will get we're professionals, man. We get this done. No matter what, we will get. So if it sounds kind of weird.
We went full Apollo 13.
We went, right. We were like tissues and vacuums and all sorts of stuff. And
vacuum pumps.
And now everything's working again. Porno Steve thought he would have to hit the road again, do a couple more films to pay off the cost of the board. Before
At least my car is
back.
Comfortable to sleep in.
And so now everything's back fine.
Now it is.
I won't get home until like midnight or 1 a.m., but hey, that's okay. I'm perfectly fine with that. I only started out like at 6 this morning. I'm fine. I'm perfectly fine.
You look good, man.
Yeah, thanks.
You're doing great.
Yeah, I'm going to have a stroke. This brewery's going to give me a stroke. I'll tell you what won't give you a stroke. Have you listened to Dr. Homebrew? JP's show? Jason Petros, not John Palmer.
Right.
Or John Plisse. All you guys name Jesus Christ.
Yeah, Blichmann.
At least Jesus Christ would be JC. There you go. And not JB, but JP. Dr. Homebrew. What they do, people send in their beers, their homebrewed beers, and then they master judges, BJCP judges that write up score sheets, and then they reveal the score sheets on the air, and they talk about the beer, and they go about why it's a good beer, why it was scored the way it was, and so you can learn a lot about your beers. You can learn a lot about your brewing process, even if you don't send in beers. But I recommend you send in beers. Very cool show, and it's free, like all the shows are on the Brewing Network. Just check them out, thebrewingnetwork.com, and check out Dr. Homebrew. I tell you, that won't leave you wanting. That's a good show. All right, next question.
All right. Trevor Morton asks, "Hey there, Brew Strongers. With regards to mash efficiency, if I have a false bottom, does it matter where the outlet is as long as it's below the false bottom?"
Makes no difference whatsoever as far as mash efficiency.
Most false bottoms seem to have the outlet centered in the mash tun below
At the
false
homebrewing
bottom.
scale.
What if it was just located on the side of the vessel? I've poured through the mash tun design section of How to Brew, and it does not address this question as far as I can tell. Jamil, go easy on John. The rest of the book is fantastic.
God damn it, John. Why is your book so shitty?
So are we talking...
I'll add it to the next edition. Yeah.
Some of the difference there being mash efficiency versus brew house efficiency.
Right. So mash efficiency is exactly the same.
Yes.
That's more dependent on crush, pH, temperature, all those things.
Right.
Time. Brew house efficiency, like my brilliant John Blichmann is pointing out, and what I was referring to is that brew house efficiency can change. It's much more prevalent in a large brew system, like my brilliant friend John Palmer is pointing out. Mm-hmm. The larger the scale, the more that plays in. When you're talking about a small scale, it's really not that big a deal.
Right. Or it's certainly not enough to worry about.
Right. You wouldn't want to spend a ton of money on something where you could throw in like another handful of grain.
Right. Yeah. At the scale we're working at, the radius of that the pickup tube can accommodate is about a foot. So so
if your pickup tube is a half-inch diameter, that's good for a foot, or is there a scale there?
You could if it's in the middle, you could accommodate a 2-foot diameter mash tun.
Mm-hmm. It's a foot either side of the pickup tube.
Yeah, it's going to follow that.
Right.
It's when you get to larger scale, deeper depth, where you will see multiple pickup tubes, underneath a large false bottom, in a mash or lauder ton that's 10, 12 feet in diameter.
So if you had an 18-inch diameter kettle, let's say, or a mash tun, let's say, and under the false bottom, you would move your pickup tube 6 inches over. 6 inches in, that would be good to cover an 18-inch because 1 foot to one side and 6 inches to the other side, you'd be covered.
Yeah,
you put it in the center, but not really needed.
Yeah, and 12 inches is not gospel. I'm looking at
almost any homebrew kettle from the side. You're good.
Yeah, you should be good. The models that we generated when we were building that appendix in Honebrew. All the calculations we did just said that placement of the pickup was not a critical factor at the scale we were working at, and we were planning on typical 10-gallon round beverage coolers, the 48 quart rectangular coolers. That wasn't really a factor there either. We were seeing equal collection from the back end, of the cooler through the manifold versus right next to the
reaching around to the front end. Yeah,
right.
Same.
Yeah,
same when you reached around.
Yes. Yeah, back to front, same.
Back, front.
Yeah, equal performance.
Right, pushing or pulling.
Stop it.
What? I'm talking very technical stuff here, my lady.
You had me at reach around.
Right.
I haven't had to reach around
He gets
in a
it.
long time.
He gets it.
All right. One more question.
All right. In a professional brewery, does brewing all ales versus a mix of ales and lagers affect the ideal brewhouse layout? All I can think of is maybe fermenting ales in tanks that are easier to access since the lager will sit in the tank longer. What are there other considerations I'm missing?
Oh, you opened such a big can of worms. So, it depends on so many factors. But if you look at something like Anheuser-Busch, they have their lager tanks, their chip tanks, and they're horizontal. They are big tanks laid on their side. And one of the reasons they are is they put all their chips in there. They crawl in there and put these
beechwood
chips in there.
Well, actually, and 2x4s.
And it's in order to generate more surface area, right? So it's surface area for the yeast to lay on and to get more surface across that whole area and to expose more yeast to
per volume.
Yeah. You're right. To exactly per volume to
crank
get
out more beer
faster. To get more effect of the yeast on the beer as it's aging on there. If you do a tall, if they were to tilt those tanks upright, they wouldn't get as much yeast surface area and wouldn't be as effective. So they do it for a reason. Now, it depends. If you're doing a lager and you're happy with your lagers in a vertical unitank, then ale or lager doesn't make any difference. One thing, some people will keep their lagers in their tanks longer, and if that's the case, then you're going to need more tanks. That would be the only real difference. Any tank you use, it needs to be equally accessible. If a tank's not accessible in your brewery, you're going to be in real trouble. So you really want to lay it out, in the most effective way possible for easy access to every tank. But the only difference I can think of is if you're using unitanks, you're going to, and if you want to keep your loggers in there longer, then you're going to need, more tanks for your given volume of production.
Yep. That's the chief problem with loggers is you tie up that fermenter or tank space.
But you can ferment a lager just about the same. I mean, the way we cycle our tanks, we take a long time on ales, and I think we do lagers exactly the same amount of time, so I don't think it makes any difference for us. So, there you go.
Yeah. But we're using the new lager cycle where, pitch cold, finish warm, diacetyl rest, get all of the fermentation done during fermentation, and so you don't need a long lagering time.
Right. John, you're familiar with great fermentations, are you not?
Yes, I am.
What it's like one of the great homebrew shops in your proud state of Indiana.
It is indeed. Great Fermentations was the homebrew shop that I went to in Indianapolis. That really got me started in the hobby, lit my passion for that.
Well, they have a website, greatfermentations.com, and that website has the largest catalog of Blichmann products anywhere on the web?
They have got a phenomenal selection.
Pretty much everything you sell, you can find on Great Fermentations to order off the web.
And then some.
Stuff you haven't even created. They're creating their own.
I haven't even come out with yet. It's like some freaking freaky time warp.
Time travel. Well, they use that same time travel to ship you out same day shipping on some fundamental items that you might need, like a Boilermaker kettle or something like that. They've got it in stock. Whereas a lot of places it might take a few weeks before you could get it.
Yeah, they've got a place the order with us, and
right.
Get that. I'd like to get that shipped out for them. But.
Right. So you go to if you're in a hurry, greatfermentations.com. The staff also knows everything about Blichmann products. They are some of the best trained people on Blichmann products anywhere. So if you got questions on what's going to be the right product for you, what's going to do the job you want it, or how to use it once you get it, greatfermentations.com. And it just goes to say because they got great customer service. So check them out, greatfermentations.com. I'm getting tired. One of John Blichmann's favorite homebrew shops right there. There you go.
They are my local shop.
Their local shop. There you go.
Got me started in the business.
All right. Let's take a short break. When we come back, we will wrap up with a couple more of your questions right after this.
Williams Brewing is your online resource for prompt delivery of quality home brewing supplies. Since 1979, Williams Brewing has offered the finest equipment and the freshest ingredients, backed by the best customer service in the business. Do you like to mash using efficient fly sparging, but would like an easy way to heat your strike and sparge water? Enter the new Brewer's Edge electric mash water heater, a plug-in, anywhere, precisely controlled heater for strike and sparge water. Ditch the fumes and second burner and make mashing easy. Go to williamsbrewing.com today and browse their vast selection. That's williamsbrewing.com. Orders placed by 4 p.m. Pacific Time weekdays ship the same day. Brewing is easy the Williams way.
Ken Grossman of Sierra Nevada Brewing Company says making great beer is hard. Making the same great beer every day is harder. Brewers Publications announces its latest release for breweries of any type and size. Quality Management, an essential guide for brewers by Mary Pelletieri. Proper quality management for small, regional, and national breweries is critical. Whether you are an established business or brand new, learn the best ways to create and manage a quality system in your brewery. This book will guide you in developing a comprehensive program that will grow with your brewery, help ensure quality processes in the brewery, and continue providing great beer for your fans. Quality management for breweries is critical for continued success. This guidebook teaches you to integrate quality management in every level of the operation. It will guide you in developing a comprehensive program to ensure quality processes in your brewery. Quality Management, an essential guide for brewers, now available from Brewers Publications. Learn more at brewerspublications.com.
Say hello to my little friend. You've
heard about White Labs Pure Pitch yeast. Pure Pitch is yeast grown right in its final packaging. That means yeast that has never been exposed to the environment. And White Labs Pure Pitch yeast for homebrewers is now available to everyone at homebrew retailers nationwide. Easy to use, perfectly sized, and ready to pitch. White Labs yeast packaged using their Flex Cell process ensures the purest yeast on the market. Visit whitelabs.com to learn more about Pure Pitch, Flex Cell technology, and how it's created. Then visit a homebrew retailer near you for your own perfectly sized package of Pure Pitch yeast. And you can say hello to your own little friend. www.whitelabs.com.
That's it. I've had it. I am never putting hops in my beer again.
What? Why?
It's just too ridiculous. Insane prices, stupid contracts, high shipping costs, crappy selection.
Dude, you need Nico Brew.
Nico Brew will rock your f***ing face right the f*** off your f***ing skull. $5 shipping to all 50 states. Plus fantastic international rates get you low prices on Nico Brew's great selection of hops and more. Whether you're a home brewer, a pro brewer, or a homebrew shop owner, Nico Brew can get you the hops you need in increments big and small. Single orders, spot buys, or full contracts. And there's only one place to join the uber special secret elite bare bones club where you'll get the best deals anywhere.
Holy shit.
NicoBrew.com. NIKOBREW. Nico Brew, your bare bones buddy in the brewing business.
Learning to brew has never been so disgusting. This is Brew Strong.
All right, we're back. Enjoying Brew Strong with John Palmer, John Blichmann,
and Evil Cousins.
Porno Steve, Evil Cousin, the beautiful Bevo Amor, and
Bevo Amor. That was my French accent.
It was very nice. Thank you.
Yeah, we should change it to Amor.
Amor.
Like love. Bevo, love.
I don't even know what to say.
Just keep blushing.
Yeah. All right. Speaking of love, I'll tell you what. If you are getting intimate, are you getting enough? I'll tell you how you get enough. You go to adamandeve.com, check it out. You're going to get 10 times enough. You go on there, use the offer code Jamil, Jamil. You buy one thing, you're going to get yourself 10 free gifts. You're going to get yourself 6 free adult DVDs. 6, count them 6. One of those could be Texas Crack Wrangler, was featuring Porno Steve.
Well, if we put in Porno Steve instead of Jamil, would we get twice as much?
You just get like a wet board.
It's awful hard to say.
Be careful what you wish for.
Right. If you use offer code Jamil, you get the 6 free adult DVDs. You're going to get a free gift for her, a free gift for him, which is maybe you, I don't know, and a free gift for both of you. And what's that 10 thing? You're at like
9.5.
9.5, yeah.
Or 8, yeah, 8.5.
8.5. Right. You're going to get yourself free shipping. Free shipping on the whole kit and caboodle.
Keychain, landing.
There you go. That's 9.5, which is fairly close.
Right. He's missing a finger. That's what's so funny.
A piece of a finger.
A piece of a finger.
It's not a whole finger.
Right.
It's just the nail, basically.
I don't know.
It's just that.
I don't know what he stuck it in that snapped it off.
That's the perfect one, man.
But don't stick your fingers in there anymore. Right. So check him out, adamandeve.com. Use the offer code Jamil, Jamil. All right. One more question, and we will wrap this up.
Okay.
One more question. I will make my long drive home.
Let's see. Hey, guys. Thanks, as always, for the show and taking the time to answer questions. Is there a preferred sequence to when certain ingredients get mashed in. If using acidulated malt, should that go in before or after mineral adjustments? Is it better to mash in base malt before darker malts to minimize tannin extraction from higher temp strike water?
Hell no, throw it all in at the same time. Stop screwing around with this. I'm going to do, I'm going to do
this at this time.
Yeah, actually, I agree with Jamil.
Yeah. Does that fall under the measure it with a micrometer, mark it with a chalk line, and cut it with an axe?
If you're describing a Saturday night at your place after we've had some beers, yeah, probably. That sounds about right.
I throw it all in at once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Could you get some minor differences from, sequence? Perhaps. Is it worthwhile? Does it actually mean anything? Probably not.
No. I mean, you got to get it all in there. You've got to get the grains wet. Mm-hmm. You've got to get the minerals dissolved. You've got to get the acidulated malt. It has to be in there. It's a system. So, and it's once you have the equilibrium of the system and you've established your mash pH that's going to dictate the activity of the enzymes that's going to, determine the performance of the mash. So, dribbling it out over, say, 15 minutes as you add something first and something second and, something else third, things are going to be happening at the wrong pH because, as soon as they get wet, things start happening. So,
well, all your enzyme activity comes with your base malt anyway.
Yeah. So, put it in all at once, get it to equilibrium, and that's when, and hopefully
the
then
magic happens.
Yeah. Hopefully you'll be at the right pH, and things will happen optimally. If you drag it out,
doing like darker malts that are going to have an acidulating
but
effect, it's probably good to get those in because you're probably using a water that's more appropriate for a darker beer anyway.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, but that's you bring up a good point where it's good to understand that ahead of time, so you
whatever water you're doing is appropriate for a dark beer,
right?
But better make sure it's a dark mash.
Yeah. Whereas if you have a low alkalinity water, a very, like a Portland water, very low minerals, and you're not adding, minerals to the water to adjust the residual alkalinity, then you may want to hold your dark grains towards the end of the mash and do the capping procedure like, Gordon Strong recommends in his book. That's appropriate to that water profile because that way you're maintaining the majority of the mash at the proper pH before you add the dark malts and bring it down lower. For the sparge. So it's good to understand that all that up front.
Well, and I'll tell you, all this stuff is freaking meaningless when you compare it against fermentation.
Very good point.
Fermentation is so far much more important than all this stuff put together. And people focus on, what time should I throw things in, all this.
Which hop am I using?
Yeah, fermentation. If you don't, spend all your time on that first. Once you have fully mastered fermentation, then you can tweak all this other stuff. Because all this other stuff is meaningless because the results you get are going to be so variable if your fermentation isn't good. You can take and this is one of the things about going to like white labs where they have one wort fermented by a dozen different yeasts. And it's just every beer is so radically different.
Yeah, yeah.
And, the same can be said about fermentation conditions. Temperature, oxygen, pitching rate, health of the yeast, all this different stuff makes a dramatic difference. You take the same yeast, but different conditions, and the beer turns out completely different. You'd say, oh, you used roast malt in this one, and you didn't in this one. Well, why? It's like, no, same recipe, same wort.
Mm-hmm.
You used a lot of crystal malt in. You hopped this one a lot more. Nope, exactly the same word, and you'd be shocked. So, focus on the fermentation. Get that down, and then once you have absolutely mastered that, that's when you start fiddling around with all this other stuff.
I agree.
Yeah, you were saying in a previous show that you thought it was a certain percentage of making a beer, like 90%, 80.
Oh, yeah.
90% of how a beer turns out was all yeast. And
Yep.
how that's treated.
It's fundamentally, the saying that, brewers make wort, yeast make beer. And, nothing's more true than that.
Mm-hmm.
True that.
Word up.
Please never say that again.
My bad.
It isn't a show unless we have annoyed Bevo at least 3 or 4 times. All right. So I consider the show a success. Thank you, everybody, for coming out. John Blichmann for traveling these long distances to come out and solely to be on the show. John Palmer, the same thing.
Hey, pleasure.
Porno Steve to get himself out of
he's got a
rehab. Hey, careful.
Get that beer away from this.
Does anyone have a lid right
Put
now?
the beer down.
There we go.
Step away from the beer.
Another fine show brought to you by Blichmann Engineering. Again, Blichmann Engineering, John Blichmann, he's paying for the show,
That's
so
right.
you don't have to.
And I appreciate you spending the time to listen to these douchebags.
Yeah, there you go. You're finally getting a little hint of the John Blichmann I know and love.
That's right.
So check him out on the interwebs, BlichmannEngineering.com. Lots of great stuff to innovate and improve your brew day. So check it out and make sure to email them and tell them how much you appreciate the fact that they pay for this show. So
That's
you don't
right.
have to.
And Jamil, I appreciate that you're wearing pants today.
There you go. And if you enjoy the show, don't forget to check out the Brewing Network store, thebrewingnetwork.com/store. And there you can find hoodies and shirts and hats and pants and gloves and thongs, bras, pasties.
Stop it.
Sippy cups.
Sippy cups.
Soon.
We should, please.
Sippy cups.
Hello Kitty
And,
sippy cups.
And everything you buy from the Brewing Network store goes to the bottom line of the Brewing Network and helps keep shows like this on the air. So check it out today. Again, until then, brew strong, everybody.
Brew
Bring
strong.
on.